Hello, everyone. How are you doing? I'm here with our next author and 24 authors in 12 hours on our special Valentine's Day edition. And I'm really excited about this book, Fairy Marked. And what I really want to share is that we met in Virginia, actually in Washington, D.C., on the Maryland side, actually.
Yes.
Forget how all this worked out, and an actual physical book fair, which is exciting. Very few of the authors I've ever actually met in the physical real world. So welcome.
Hi, Amy. Thank you for having me today. I'm excited to be here.
And I'm excited to have you here. And kind of the whole purpose of this is a wonderful just opportunity to share as an author the behind the scenes of your book, your inspiration, your writing journey. And we do have a lot of authors who follow the page, and we get a lot of feedback from them of like, oh, these are things I had not considered. One of the things that we end up talking about a lot now lately has been the marketing aspect of books, right? Because you do the writing, but it's everything that comes after. So you were telling me behind the scenes that this book is one of your earlier works. So let's kind of go with that.
Yeah. So I bought one of those done for you packages where they're like, this is a really great concept. And I'm like, I love this concept because it fits so perfectly with where I want to go as an author. So it was kind of like the beginning baby steps of when you're just trying to find your footing and trying to see like how you fit in with the world that you're creating. And I'm working on book 8 right now. So we've come a really long way from the first kind of launch point, we'll call it.
So I want to share your page with everybody because 8 books, like that is a major accomplishment. I'm hoping to get there one day to get to that 8 book point. I think for authors, it's kind of economy of scales, right? The more books we have, the more people find you, and they're like, if you like that book, then you're going to like these other books.
That is true. Although it's almost melancholy to a point because 8 books in this series means this heroine's journey is over, you know? She's had her journey, she's completed her character arc, and I'm like, I don't want to let her go yet, but I know I have to move on to other characters.
So what's in the future for you?
Right now, I'm being a terrible person to myself because I'm juggling 2 ghost projects and then about 5 projects for me across 2 pen names. But I'm really trying to hone in on a trilogy that I can't give it away, but it's going to be a dark gothic romantasy, reverse harem with Norse mythology elements.
Ooh, this sounds really exciting. And if you want to come back on the show in October, that's when we do thrillers, chillers, dark romance, all those kinds of like things that go bump in the night. Vampires, werewolves are welcome. Definitely witches. I'm a huge fan of witches. I'm very much like I'm pro witch.
Oh, I mean, do you want me to bring out my tarot deck? I can do a spread.
There you go. Yeah, like very, very witch forward in my world. And so when we met, what was very funny is I had only written at that point either academic books or business books. And we ended up, just for the audience, this is pretty hysterical. It really turned out that instead of it being more general book fair, it was very much more romance, gothic kind of authors. And I had all these different people around me, and I was like, yeah, my vampires are actually called the bosses. And and I'm like, we all have those in our lives. We know the real vampires. They steal your soul.
Yes, they're not content with just your blood. They want everything else.
Absolutely. So my sister, who is one of your biggest fans and helped us to reconnect, she wrote, I love mythology of all kinds. And so I love the fact that you're bringing that mythology element into it.
I'm really trying. My heroine, I'm going to give just a little other kind
of Absolutely. I mean, that's the purpose. Is I want to hear the dish. I want to hear the real stories.
Right. So my heroine is a reincarnated Valkyrie who has to go through multiple timelines after being cursed through Odin to love these same 3 men and lose them every time. So mythology, we've got dark shadow fae, we've got a raven shifter, we've got a vampire. Like, I'm throwing it all in on this series. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and it's Valentine's Day and you're killing off the heroes. I'm kind of digging it.
They're fine.
I can Hey, you know what, bro? There'll be a new one of you next year for different chocolates.
It's character development, Amy. That's what it comes down to. It's for their own good. They have to die and be reborn.
No, it's so funny because so many of the other authors today, we've really talked about the journeys. And I want to plug an author from earlier that we had today, Mark Gregory. And you don't get a lot of men who write in the genre, right?
True.
And his book, his first hero comes out, and he's young in his 20s. And through the book, he then ends up with the breakup at the end. And it is that what we go through in the life, right?
That soul growth that is just so painful in the moment. And then you can look back later, whether it's, a lived human experience or on the page.
Yeah, it's so important to just kind of highlight those stories, the mythical and magical, always kind of have that little bit of grounding in humanity in our stories.
It's true. And I think that's what really makes readers connect with those stories too, because they can see either the fantasy in it, something that they've wanted, or the experience that they've already gone through. Like, oh, that was me, or oh, I wish that was me.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of anything that has magic in it. I'm like, I don't want to watch it in real world, but as soon as you add like a magic wand, I'm like all in.
Oh, I wish I had one.
One of the things I want to highlight for our audience is 24 Authors in 12 Hours is an author helping author event. And the way that we're able to do the productions is if you are able to donate, we love donations. That helps us to pay for the software and the website and just the things that we need to do for production, as well as we sell really cool merchandise like the 24 Authors in 12 Hours, coffee cups, wine glasses, I think it was after our mystery and horror. Somebody was like, you need beer glasses. We got beer glasses out there now. So all those important things that you need, wine glasses, because we all need that, especially on Valentine's Day.
I mean, if it's not coffee, then it's wine.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So definitely want to encourage that and appreciate the support out there. One of the things that Brea and I were talking about before the show was, as authors, the environment has changed once again, and there's just like so many scammers out there. And so you go to your author email or you go to your social media. So how are you coping with that when you do want to connect to your fans, but at the same time, there's this new, I don't even know what to call it, scammers out there.
It's difficult because you want to try to give these messages the benefit of the doubt, because when you go to events, sometimes you meet awesome readers that you want to connect with later, and you get these emails and you're like, is this one of those readers? And they're really having a hard time finding me on Goodreads, But I think after a few times that I've engaged with like book clubs or readers, they give you the same kind of rote to rinse and repeat response. And you're like, oh, okay. Some of them are legit. I have now a friend, Wesley, who, messages me weekly that I thought was a scam and was not. But you just have to kind of play it by ear, but it is a little disheartening. I mean, I know Oprah's not inviting me on the show, so that's, that's not legit. But if Katie Roberts really does want to email me, like, feel free. That's great.
Well, and it's even our connections. Like, had we not had a couple mutual connections, like you said, you would have just ignored the opportunity to just come and have this chat and discuss the writing and the whole process of getting your books out there.
I'm like, Amy's face is familiar, and it kind of tweaked something in my brain. So that's why I'm like, yes, I think this is legit, but let me just check. You can't tell. And it hurts sometimes because you want to be there and you want to be available, but not go across that boundary.
Yeah, and I think it's important that readers know that we're in a weird time because of this AI of making sure that we want to connect with you, but it could be a challenge.
It is. And I hope the readers also know, like, we want to connect with you. We want to have your messages and your emails. Like, the spam doesn't detract from that.
Yeah, and so you have a public Facebook page. I put the link in here. I want to encourage people, do those comments, because if it's a comment in public, we know that you're out there and you're real. Do you have any other preferred means for your fans to reach out to you?
I mean, Facebook or Instagram comments, I'll respond to direct messages if, I think that they're safe and it's not just the, ooh, you look really hot on your TikTok. Like, no, we're not responding to that. But any kind of direct messages, I think my website has a comment section, Facebook messages. We're open to it as authors.
There's a whole nother discussion on another day as the amount of things that you get are just highly inappropriate that you're like, yes, I wrote a book. This does not mean I want a picture of any of your appendages.
I just said to my best friend yesterday, I'm like, somebody commented on my TikTok video and said I was hot. Does this mean I made it? And she's like, what? I'm like, I think this means I made it. But yeah, that's a whole other avenue.
Yeah, that's a whole nother thing. I feel like that could be like a whole book series right there. And
there you go. Sneak that in for the spring.
Oh, geez. And this is where the chats can go anywhere.
You could have it on how to hold your boundaries against inappropriate direct messages as an author.
Yes. It's like, yes, I wrote a book. Would you like to know more about the book? Are you single? Like, no, this is an author account. You could be talking to a dude. Like, you don't know who manages people's accounts.
This could just be like a public picture that I have. It doesn't have to be me. Or it could be a PA who looks at that.
Yeah, it could be, AI, right? Of course, they have AI girlfriends now, too, which is just weird.
They do. I mean, they have an AI, actress who has a whole backstory and things. I'm just like, how do you do this? Why would you have
a lot? So, AI is changing the whole world for authors. And I know that you were an author before AI was on the scene, and a lot of people have strong views, and I like to hear them. I have my own views, but what are your thoughts right now as an author writing in this world as it's really changed in the last 3 years?
It has. And I feel like any opinion you offer will be controversial on some point. For me personally, I think it's a tool like any other. You could use it to help brainstorm, but it can't actually replace human ingenuity, human creativity, human passion. Do I do it like, would this idea fit in today's market if these are my two comparables? Yes or no? Okay, good. That saved me 5 hours of research right there. But is it a tool that you lean on too hard? Can it become a handicap? Can it be an excuse if you don't want to put the work in? Yeah, you have to be really careful with it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it, I'm an old person, and it's kind of funny to be at that point of life of going, I love this, like the last century, and right. But I really remember when computers were becoming the thing, and people had this big debate on if you were a real writer, if you were using a typewriter or a computer, and people who were moving to computers were not real writers.
Oh, absolutely. Or if you didn't handwrite it yourself, you don't have your entire manuscript written out in hand. No, my hand hurts.
It's like, no, I write it in blood with a chisel on a wall. Like what makes you a real writer, right?
I have a stone outside. It's a tablet, literally a stone tablet.
Yeah, I love that, a stone tablet. But I just think that that's such an important thing of like that distinction of when it, writing is a craft and it's an art, and having discussions with authors. I love that I leave from these and I have so many ideas and stuff I want to incorporate into my writing and what I do. And I think it's important that we always maintain that organic human piece, because a computer's never going to replace that part.
It never is. And even if you ask it, like, can you hook check this for me? You don't have to use what it outputs. You could be like, oh, you have a really good element in this word choice, and then I will incorporate that how I do in my voice. It's not a replacement. A supplement, perhaps, depending on how you use it, but not a replacement.
Well, in my last book, it was super interesting, and I actually shamelessly do teach a course on using AI as your virtual writing circle. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I tell authors and people I coach in other aspects of my life is don't rely on one AI. Have a group of AI friends. Like use Chat GPT, who I call Chat, use Coop, which is Copilot. Use Claude, use Gemini, who I call Gem, like use the different ones. They're going to give you different answers, which is super fascinating. And it's going to help you to be more authentic when you use them. But I was trying to do something and I wanted to kind of rush, I think. And one of the AIs called me out and said, I think that's really out of character. And I was like, man, and I ended up having to write like 4 more chapters, to get it to where I wanted to go. And I really thought, like, that's a good point. But in my historic writing, when I first started, I was in an actual writing group, and then we would all take our chapters and exchange them with humans.
Yes, which I think we also need.
Yeah.
It's just,
but it would take like weeks to get back those chapters, right? And I'm like, I can chat with AI 24/7. They don't even require a cup of coffee. I still think beta readers have to be humans and have to be essential.
Agreed.
But the kind of initial writing group piece to do it virtually, I think that that's really helps a lot. But also, and this is what I love about authors is, we just want to talk about our books to people. Like, I love being in an actual, groups with people. So are you still in writing groups?
I don't think I've ever really been in a writing group per se. Nothing like official. I have writer friends that I will tap and be like, hey, can you give this a little look-see and see what you think? But never one outside of like my college, creative writing group where I had critiques coming in.
So there is a Virginia writing group. I can send you the information afterwards if you want to be a part of it. Yeah, and they do meetups. Mine was like, I couldn't have planned this better. So for the audience, I lived in Arlington, Virginia. We're both, like literally last year I moved out to Garyandale from there. And the local Virginia writing group chapter where I was at was 3 blocks from my house. Like, I could walk, have a glass of wine, and walk home.
You can't ask for more.
And I was like, I don't have like literally, unless it was like a blizzard, you have no excuse to not go, because
that is true. 3 blocks.
It was 3 blocks.
I am 20 minutes from town, so I use that as an excuse a lot. I'm like, I don't want to drive 20 minutes. Come on.
Exactly. And so I was looking for that kind of like, I don't know, like, and I was like, oh, like, if it was off, if it was across town, it was interesting because it was for like a fairly large region.
That's interesting that it was so close to you.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, like, I don't have an excuse. Like, it's outside my door.
At that point, no.
And it definitely worked. I definitely think meeting with people can help. So as somebody who's in writing on your own, how do you get people to listen to you about your writing? Do you just like force people, like your family and friends? I make my sister listen to all my ideas when we drive.
I basically will talk to somebody if I'm stuck with somebody, or if I'm stuck on a concept. Because if somebody's in forced proximity with me, they have no choice. I'm going to talk, But if I'm stuck and I need to reach out, then I'll have that conversation of like, hey, can I get your onion on this? And my best friend will be like, my onion is yours. What do you need? But otherwise, my mother will read all my books. She's like, oh, did you just have something come out? I'm like, yeah. And she's like, oh, okay, you go buy it. So
I love that. And so one thing I want to highlight for the audience, and I know if you listen to me, you hear this 100 times and it's never enough, is the love language of authors is reviews. Like, the one thing we need. Go ahead and talk about the importance of reviews, Brea.
I mean, that's how new readers discover you. That's how readers can see if those elements that we painstakingly put into our books are something that they'd like to engage in. If they're like, ooh, forced proximity, I really love that. But forced proximity with like a Beauty and the Beast bent, that's for me. So reviews really help with that too. Not the giving the whole story away, but like, what elements did you like? What did you appreciate? What didn't work for you? Because sometimes that works for somebody else. And it costs nothing.
And I think that's so important, is the good reviews, the bad reviews. And earlier we were talking about the importance of making sure that your promotion and book materials really accurately say what's going to be in the book. Because I don't ever want to mislead you and be like, oh, this is where you think you're going, but not where you end up.
That's not where you were going.
Like, if you're like, oh, I was not planning on being in a reverse harem, whoops.
No, that's what we have to lead with. The other little things can surprise you, but the big things should not.
Yeah, in my I actually started writing under a pen name, and it was partly because my other books, being business books and academic books, are very work appropriate, kind of boring books, right? like they are appropriate books that you could download and read at work, right? Like that is, there's literally business communications, right? And so that's where you should have those. And then when I was like, I want to write a book and it's gonna be set in a brothel in DC where the Indian Museum has become a brothel, which is actually the Indian Museum was built on a brothel, which was kind of this concept.
God, I love this. Like, oh how have I not read this book, Amy?
Well, I will. It's actually, I'm really glad you brought that up. It is actually free today for Kindle download. I'm going to put this in the chat for everybody. Please check out my books. I put the Decoding History first, The Invisible Thread, which is the book set there on in prostitutes in the year 2055, and in brothels in DC. And then the two business books are coming after that, and these are the business fable books. And so, yeah, I didn't want somebody who's like, oh, I've read her other work, because that's commonly what you do as an author, and be like, I would love to read this. And you're like, Decoding History does sound enough like a business book. And then you're like, whoa, I am in a brothel and the lead character's a prostitute. Like, I don't know where to go with this.
I mean, you had me at brothel, so, you know.
Yeah, and so I love that. Witches, brothels, and what I will say is there's hints to it in the first book, but the second book, which is getting ready for release, I finally found my hook that I was looking for.
Good.
Is going to be released next. And these are all grounded in the current reality. And then
to it.
Yeah, and then they're set like 30 years later in a world that could be based on where we are now. But there's like some elements of magic, so little elements of like conspiracy theories and time travel and aliens and what's real or not. So, you know, it's I want those seeds in there because it's a 7-book series, and you gotta, as you know, like make sure you have enough for those not familiar with it, like an author's, like what you do is you do some thin plot lines so that you can pull them later.
Yeah, have that series arc ready, because if you're doing something outside of just like a standalone or a trilogy, you need to know how they all connect all together, so you're not surprised you're on book 4 and you're like, where do I go?
Well, I know how it ends, and then I know like each book's major premise. But then this is crazy, and this was what took a while too, is I actually need to officially close it out so people know, is a opportunity for readers where I called it Reader's Choice, where you could say your preference, what would happen to certain characters. And so that's going to also be at the end of book 2, where you can take one of your favorite characters. I hope they're one of your favorite characters, and say like, what do you want to be their fate?
I mean, you were talking about choose your own adventure. That is absolutely choose your own adventure, which millennials like me, we love.
Yeah, I think you'll love it. And like I said, I'm kind of, based on the feedback that came from readers, started to write those. But in book 2, I'll make sure you know when that one comes out, and then you'll have a real chance to be like, ooh, what's going to happen to this character? And because I think that's a great opportunity to get, like we were talking about, like, how do I get that authentic engagement from the readers and make sure that they feel like they're vested, right?
Absolutely. Especially if you're tapping your readers in like your newsletter or your Facebook group, because they've been with you hopefully on this journey, or they've joined you there because they want to be with you on this journey. So making them feel a part of the book, it's very special.
I can't believe that we're wrapping this up. We're actually at the end of our time. Any last minute things that you want to share with the audience that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
I mean, we could go all day here. Really, we could go all day.
Absolutely.
I was going to piggyback on the pen name because I have a pen name also. I've established myself as like a paranormal romantasy. That's where I like to live, right in the magic. But, sometimes you want to go a little darker. So if anybody wanted like a darker contemporary, I do have that too, just not under me.
Well, I'll tell you what, we are going to talk all things dark, scary, bump in the night, the things that make me uncomfortable in October. I would love to have you back on the show.
I would love that, because in my daily life, outside of like Brea the author, or pen name Melanie the author, Brea loves spooky things. Brea keeps a spreadsheet of horror movies I've watched just so I could be organized. So
yeah, it's funny because I was asking last night, hey, it's Valentine's Day Eve, what are people watching? And I forgot that it was Friday the 13th, and all these people came back with like, I am like watching Jason slash people. I was like, well, happy Valentine's Day to you.
Don't forget
Massacre, right?
He's out for Jason, right?
Yeah. Well, I see our next author waiting in the queue. I have just had such an amazing time. I'm looking forward to talking to you again in October, if not sooner. Right. And
Thank
for
you.
all the subscribers, please like, please share, and please review your favorite author for their Valentine's Day gift.
Absolutely. That would be so immensely helpful. And thank you for having me. I had a
No,
blast.
thank you.